Okay, so I am starting what I hope to be a fun cup. I'm going to do the glitter coat on this one using Opal Dreams from LMNOP Design Boutique. I spray painted my cup just randomly with fig and peacock spray paints. I have my cup here. This does have a tiny bit of my perfect white additive in it because I had a tiny bit left in a cup from coating 3 other cups, but I'm going to try the wet method for this. The wet method doesn't usually work for me, so we'll see how this goes. I've been watching Luxinda Swirl do it, and she did one the other day that came out fantastic, so we'll see how this goes. I always end up with too much glitter, or not enough glitter, or whatever the case may be. So I'm just gonna put some in. I'm gonna leave that stick clean. I'm gonna mix it with this stick that I mixed my main batch with. And I'm just gonna kind of slowly add my glitter. I'm going ahead with this method on this cup because this is gonna end up being a Peekaboo geode style type thing. So it's just gonna be a fun cup overall. And I think just to get a little bit better of solid coverage, I'm going to put a tiny bit more of that perfect white diamond dust in there. Just because that'll help fill in any gaps. So, and this is kind of like ground up this, in all honesty. It's not, because it's not glitter, it's something else, but looks-wise. So, mix it up once more, and I'm going to get started. I have a fun water slide cut for this, and I have an idea for the peekaboo part, plus the geode will just be added bonus. So, I feel like I probably needed more epoxy. I feel like it's so much more than I would have used to begin with, but it's still not enough. That's how I always feel with these. I'm even gonna scrape that last little bit back off my table from the stick. I'm gonna make sure I get every bit of it out of this cup. This is already stunning. Oh my goodness. I love it. I am probably going to need another coat over top because it's going to be a peekaboo and it's going to have to be 1000% smooth. And I have my doubts even with this little bit of glitter that it's going to be, but not the end of the world. I'll just get another coat on it in a little bit. I'm using liquidy split UV resin for this, so it's not going to take that long to set up for a flood coat. This opal has a major rainbow holographic aspect to it, but I wish I had the water slide in front of me to show you. It's going to actually be pretty fantastic with what's going on it. So, all right, I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to get another coat on it, and then I'm going to go get my decals ready, and I will come back when I'm ready for that step. Okay, so I am moving on to the next step of this tumbler. This is how it looks after. It's still got a couple little bumpy spots where some of the chunky overlapped a little bit, but it's fine. I'm moving on. So this is going to be the main decal. Well, not the main decal, the decal, but I'm just going to put this on as a placeholder with the tape for a minute. Just because this cup's going to have a lot going on, and I'm going to need to like pay attention to my placement. So that's the decal that's going to go on this side. I did a good job over there. Still got a little spot to weed out here and there too. I can see. I just need you to hold for a minute. So that side's going to get that. This side's going to get this water slide. And I also kind of want to hold that in place a little bit. I was hoping I'd have room in between, but I don't think I'm going to. Nope, I'm not. They're going to be pretty close together. So the rest of my decals are going to end up around the bottom, I guess. Not what I'd originally intended, but it'll work. And it'll be fine. So this is removable vinyl. And I just have some more dragonflies cut in white down here. And I may actually, I think I'm going to actually shift this towards the bottom of the cup, because then it'll allow me to do more of what I wanted in the first place, maybe. Because I want like peekaboo dragonflies around, but I'm also going to have I'm also going to go a little geode style with it, so I think that's what we'll do. So I'm going to try and carefully place these without messing up anything else. And I do want to press these down pretty well, but I'll burnish them further once I get my water slide out of the way. So those are two of the smaller ones I cut. I'm going to do two of the bigger ones I cut next. Somewhere in here. Try not to mess up my water slide. And I'm going to put one little one on the bottom. And this one I'm going to have to burnish really well because it's going to get on those little lips and edges there. I mean, it's flat, but it's still not a super flat surface. So, and I think I'm just going to put one more big one right under where the text is going to go. So, So I'm going to have 2 extras, but that's fine. They can be used for something else down the road, or not even really worried about. I'm going to carefully remove my tape from that. And I'm going to get this off of here. Sometimes I just mark with a dot, but this time I really wanted a very clear, concise, like, this is where they're going. So I'm going to stick that transfer tape right on that right now. And put that off to the side. And I'm going to take my brayer and make sure these are on here pretty well before I go spray paint this cup. Alright, so I'm just going to go out and spray paint this white. I'm not going to give this a two-tone. I'm just going to do white. And once I am done with that, I will come back in. That piece of glitter is messing with my head, sorry. Once I'm done with that, I'll come back in and remove my decals. Okay, so I'm ready to remove the dragonflies. I've already done most of them, but I'm just pulling the body section first. I lost a little leg on that one. I'll get it. And then I'm getting the wings. I'm trying very hard not to scratch my white paint. Because at this stage, the white is still somewhat tacky. So I really don't want to scratch it up. This did take quite a few layers to cover, and it is quite cold, so it's taking a bit to dry. But I'm gonna see if I can figure out where this decal goes, because I'd almost like this decal on prior to the next step. So I'm actually going to cut even more of this off. I know it's already pretty close already, but I want it as tight as possible. Okay. Thought I had this burnished down a little bit better, but apparently not. No, I didn't remove that little section of the D yet. So I do want to do that. Before I lay it down. Maybe. It's just a tiny little thin piece. There. There's also 2 little tiny pieces over here in the S that I might be able to get. So there we go. Let's see, it's still tacky. Try and get this lined up straight, and hopefully it will release without peeling on my white paint. Otherwise, I'm going to be touching up white for quite a while. Yep. Lost a tiny bit up here, so. Oh, and I lost part of my W. Because the W ended up over one of those tiny little bumpy spots. So I'm going to go grab some acetone, and I'm going to open up some more of this to see that undercoating. Okay, so I have my acetone and a little measuring cup, and I'm going to put some acetone in there. And I'm going to keep in mind that my water slide is going in the middle here. So I'm actually going to this time mark it with my marker, if I can find it. I just had it earlier, right here. So there, there. There, and over here, and I will clean all of that off with acetone during this process. I am smudging this a little bit more. This is super wet right here, but I will fix that up before I'm done. So I'm going to start with a rag. And some of that I'm going to take care of right now by cleaning around it. And you guys know this process can take a while. But you're going to keep moving your rag. And this leftover little bit can get cleaned up with alcohol if you can't get it clean enough this way. I do normally use a paper towel or a t-shirt. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. I do normally use a t-shirt cut up into strips for this process, but I still haven't brought a new one in this room, so we're going to use paper towels again. This base is just so pretty. I don't want that much of it covered. So we're just going to kind of, I'm not going to show you all of this because it's going to take a while, but I'm going to come over here where the edge of that's going to be. I'm going to take a chunk out. I'm going to take a good size section out of here and kind of hook around under my decal. am wearing gloves. The acetone will eventually eat through the gloves, but it does try and keep me a little bit neater. And I'm going to do one on the other side. Come up a little bit. Hoping I can cover some more of the blue. At some point here. I'm gonna come in between here. So you got to keep shifting and changing. So I'm gonna get along the edge for a bunch. I'm gonna wrap around the bottom when I do the edge in some spots, keeping track of my bottom decal. But I'm going to break away at this point. I'm going to finish this process. I'm going to get a coat of epoxy on it, and then I will be back to do the water slide. Okay, so this is where this cup stands at the moment. I did unfortunately get one piece of the letter up over a lump, and I had quite the issue putting the coat of epoxy on it. I had this cup next to it, and I touched my glove in the pink and didn't realize that I'd hit the side of my knuckle on the pink cup and ended up with quite a lot of pink on this side. I got most of it off, not quite all of it. So this cup wasn't necessarily going to get a top layer of a cheat, but now it is. So I think I'm going to use this micro cheat, I think. But first we're going to get the water slide on and let that dry. It's going to go about there. No, it's got to get shifted a little bit this way. So some of it is going to go over that just a little bit. I'm trying to get it lined up evenly here. So some of it's going to go over a little bit of the cleared out part, but I think it's going to be okay. Oh my god, it came around and I saw that pink and I was like, oh dear. So I'd grabbed one of my plastic squeegees and like got as much of the epoxy back off as possible, but yeah. So there's that. I was really not happy. Let's see if I can get this to slide nicely. Check my placement. See where this is going to end up. That seems about even, so we're just going to slide this out. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and get this damp and squeegee it a little bit get it placed. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna blot it real quick. But I'm gonna let this dry and then we'll come back in and get that last coat on and see what we have. But this is where we're at right now. I love it, but I love dragonflies, so I wrinkled. My bad. So I'm gonna set it aside to dry and I'll be back. Okay, so we are going to get the top coat on this. As I said, I'm going to use just a little bit of the micro cheat. I have some resin mixed. I'm just going to basically cover the top with a thin layer and get that mixed in. And get it on here. I'll go a long way to hide all these little flaws and imperfections and my little bit of pink. So, like I said, it wasn't originally the plan, but these things happen and I was not starting over again. I'm just going to get it all on here and get it spread out. I love this cup. It's a very me cup. Just gonna make sure I have a good even coat. And this has several coats at this point, so this should be the final coat as long as it's all smooth. Which it feels smooth, so it should be good. So that's gonna be it. I'm gonna take my glove off, hit it with the torch real quick, and then I will bring you down. And give you a little sneaky peek. You can still see that pink a little bit, but it's not horrible, so thankfully. Alright, here we go. There's that beautiful decal. And the Peekaboos. And the Dragonflies Whispered Have Faith text decal. See if I can show you the bottom. So, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching.